Yo, 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 welcome back to the Barkada channel. My name is Mark Lawrence.
And it's your boy Dirty Work, always in the building.
And welcome back to the Vibez podcast episode.
Yes, sir.
3.
Episode Drizzle.
We got ourselves a special guest again. He's known as Ron Nery Jr., Ron Velvet, Ronnie Boy Kids.
Yep.
It's Ron!
That far in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Man of many talents.
Chilling like a van. You already know.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? How's your week? How's your day so far?
It was cool. I came back from acting class last night and it was a bit of a drive, but it was good. It's nice to be in class. I actually looked into the last time I actually took a class, and it was 5 years ago, man.
Dang,
Yeah, because I've been booking and stuff the past several years, and when you start booking, it's just like I'm not really trying to get back into class, but that's like the wrong mentality to have. You should always be like staying sharp, but then
Right.
I mean, if you're booking, you're doing something right?
That part. That part. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dang. So, when did you start acting? Like, how long has it been? Like, when
Yeah,
did you
man.
start taking classes? You know?
It's been, I think I started taking classes like 8-9 years ago, but I wasn't really taking it seriously until maybe about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that when like you book check your first big
My first TV show was
TV show?
Yeah.
It was a show called Sex Sent Me to the ER on TLC.
What?
I know it's a
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's a
Do you have a
funny-
clip of that?
I do. I
All right, we're gonna.
Yeah, you have to cut that in.
It's embarrassing, but
Yeah, it's
you
not
know,
good.
it was my first exposure to being on TV.
I mean, what network was that?
on TLC.
TLC.
Yeah, so I was one of the guest stars on it. So the whole episode was virtually revolved around me and my story with my wife and stuff. So.
Dang.
Is that like Tender Love and Care, or like, you know what I'm saying, T-Boss Left Eye and Chili? Or like, what's
Nah. That'd be funny if it was based off that.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
on the network.
Right? That part. That
Yeah.
part.
So what's up, man?
So what prompted you to want to get into acting in the first place? Because like,
How far back do we want to go?
well, I mean, I know you as a singer.
Yeah.
Well,
Same.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
You know, we both know you as an actor, but you were
Yeah,
already kind
yeah.
of doing it, and then kind of you stepping into the music game afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, we can bring it back.
Bring
Okay,
it back.
let's do that then.
All the way back. Way back.
What's it called? So I've always had the interest in I didn't know if it was acting, but just performing in general when I was a little kid. You know, I'm Filipino, Mark, you're Filipino. You know how we do. We sing, we act, we
Filipino.
dance, right?
Come on, Filipino too.
Honorary Filipino right here.
Honorary Filipino. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've always had the interest. I was always the dude at family parties that would like gather my other younger cousins, and we would like do dances for everybody, for the adults when we were
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
right?
We are forced to do.
Right.
Why don't you sing for them?
Yeah, exactly.
Do your dance for them.
Exactly. So I've always known that I was an entertainer from a young age, but then when I got older, like junior high and high school, I actually wanted to at least hopefully try to pursue it like on some kind of professional level. But every time I asked my parents about it, it was always like a no. Like my dad was for it, but my mom was kind of like, no, you have to go to school. You have to get a college. You go to
Yep.
college, get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it because our parents are immigrants. They come from like a third world country, and so their mentality is different than ours. They're about survival, whereas us, we're about exploring and trying things like
Yeah.
music and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so that was difficult for me to swallow because every time I would ask, I would always get rejected. And I don't know, it's a number of things. It's
Which made you want to do it even more.
Exactly.
of course,
Exactly.
exactly. So, I went to college, majored in business, emphasized in marketing, got the degree at UC Riverside. I danced with a crew called 909 Hip Hop Dance Troupe at the time. Now it's called just 909 Dance Troupe, I think. But that was kind of my like first exposure to like really performing out in like public in front of people and competing and stuff like that. But then even after I graduated from college, I moved out to LA. I tried to dance or teach a few classes and stuff, but it was difficult to find a job because everybody in LA dances.
That part.
Right?
At least a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I taught a few guest instruction classes. I was on a dance show for a day called Your Chance to Dance on CMT.
Dope.
Yeah, so we competed. It didn't go well. We did well, but the audience was tripping, man. They just weren't feeling us, but it is what it is. Yeah. And so I basically went into the corporate world. So I bounced around from studio to studio. So starting with Summit Entertainment / Lionsgate for like almost a couple years, and then going to MGM Studios for several years, and then ending at Disney ABC Television Group, doing distribution operations, like digital distribution, pretty much.
Got it. So knowing the ins and outs, then, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, while I was good at my job. I was getting paid decently and stuff, had health insurance, paying the bills, all that. Had my own spot at one point,
Yeah.
But I would go to friends like shows, those who I, danced with in college. Some of them, did plays, acting, whatever, backup dancing for like professional artists and stuff like that. So I would sometimes go to their shows and I'd watch them on stage and I would think, man, I should have been up there. Like, this is my life now. Like working at an office, like doing the same ish, like
every single day, mundane.
Okay, I'll try not to go. So Ronnie Boy Kids. No, but I would watch them and just think like, dang, why am I doing what I'm doing right now? Because I knew even when I was in the office, I'd constantly be dancing to myself, choreography in my head, coworkers looking at me like, what is Ron doing, kind of thing. It's because that stuff never leaves you.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
No.
Right. And so one day I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna dabble in. I'm gonna stick, one toe in the water, kind of thing.
And then he fell in.
And then I fell. I eventually did, but no, I got I did some research and talked to some friends who were in the game, and I got a commercial agent, and so I started auditioning. I started taking classes and auditioning during my lunch break, because you're allowed like 1 hour, right? And sometimes my auditions would be at 3:00 or it would be at 10 a.m. And that's like but I would just tell my bosses like, hey, I'm gonna go on my lunch now, but I really would be just driving to the audition spot.
Wow.
Yeah, and then doing my thing, coming back and eating my lunch like at my desk. So it's not really like a lunch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So just eating while working, kind of thing, you know?
That's called multitasking.
Yeah. it was tough, dude. I was working 40 hours plus a week, working out like either at lunch or after work, taking acting classes once a week for like 3 hours, and auditioning. And it was a lot, it was a lot to handle, but at the time, like, I was a beast. I was going beast mode with
Especially when you're younger, man.
Yeah. Now that I'm a little older, I'm like, I look back at that, I'm like, there's no way I could have done that, dude.
Yeah, man, not right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Got kids and all kinds of stuff.
You truly can take on the world when you're 20.
Right. So I missed that, So I was getting more auditions, and it became a problem because when you're at work, you should be working. You shouldn't be doing other things, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to make the tough decision and like risk, if you will, to just kind of quit Disney and jump in with both feet. So not just a little toe, but the whole body, just dive in there.
Leap of faith.
You know what I'm saying?
Leap of faith, man.
Yeah. So I had to do that. And I just have been acting professionally full time like since then. So fortunately, it actually started to work out for me, because when I was able to just laser focus in on acting, that's when I actually started booking more stuff.
Yeah.
I guess naturally that would happen. So things just worked out for me,
Stars aligned.
Yeah. So I booked some shows and some commercials and stuff like that, and I've been doing that ever since, on top of doing music.
Yeah.
So
what's been your most favorite, jobs that you've done?
Let's see, TV wise, they're all different, I think maybe Good Girls on NBC was really fun. That had Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, Retta, all superstars.
Is that the one where you're dressed up as a cop?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I was a border like inspection dude, and so they stopped by, asked them to pop their trunk, and that was cool to work with them, because it was a big production. Like, there were so many people on set. There was like a bunch of extras around there, and and the crew was like so much, and it was just like you know, before you when you watch everybody setting up, like you don't know this when you watch TV, but when you look at a big production, there's just like so many people on set. They're all like saying like all these terms that you're not familiar with unless you're behind the camera.
And
the
terminology.
Yeah, and they're just walking around everywhere, and then they just tell you like, oh, hey, go to your spot or whatever. We block it a little bit, and then we just shoot it, you know. And everybody was really cool on set. I like the whole experience of acting.
Yeah.
I like being carted to my trailer, chilling in my trailer, taking selfies and stuff
right.
Not everybody does it, but I do like stupid stuff just because it, you know, I gotta find
the catering and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you
the
feel
on set is off the
cool. Because when you start doing like, you know, real acting and you have roles and stuff, you know, you have lines and stuff like that. It's different than when you're doing background, because you have your own spot. There's rules with the Screen Actors Guild where you have to have a trailer. If you are like a co-star, above, guest star, series reg, recurring, whatever. So it was nice to once I started booking stuff to like have my own place. Like one of the other shows I booked is called Me, Myself, and I on CBS, starring like John Larroquette. Jaleel White was in it, and so my trailer was right next to him. And I grew up a big like Family Matters, Saved by the Bell fan, so I remember being carted, you know, on golf carted to my trailer and being like, oh my God, there's Jaleel White's trailer. I just see his name on his thing, and then they drive another like 10 feet. And they're like, here you go, Ron, here's your spot. And I was like, oh, shoot, I'm next to Jaleel White, Steve Urkel in the building.
What's up,
good?
neighbor?
You know what I'm saying? Right. And so I got settled in. I came out of my trailer, and sure enough, Jaleel White was in his... It was like a Razor scooter, but it was like a souped up, like a really nice one. It was
rocket
like,
power, built by Steve Urkel.
Bro, it had like Jordan like cement print on it. It was really nice. And he was just like roaming around, and then I called him out. I was like, Jaleel, and you know, he just stopped, and he just went up to me, and we just started chopping it up. And I told him, like, you know, I've been a big fan of his work. I'm not trying to fanboy too much because I'm also at the, you know, when we're on set, we're at the same level, you know. But sometimes you cannot help it, man. This is someone that you loved growing up, you know, and he's a hero to me, you know. And I'm just like, wow, man, I've been such a big fan watching since I was a kid. And
I was expecting you to like knock on his door, like, Heidi, help me.
You know what I mean? Right? He would be like, who is this guy? Get him off the, you know.
Security.
So we chopped it up. I told him that I know Darius McCrary, who played Eddie Winslow, through one of my best friends, his cousins with him, the McCrary family and stuff. And so I just brought that up, and he was like, oh, D-Man. And so like we had a connection already because I knew his people, you know. But yeah, just the whole experience of being on set. Like I could, like, I'm used to being on set, but every time I hop on, it's always like a first time experience for me because it's like a little kid in a candy store. Like there's crafty table and you could get what you want, and or if you or sometimes like they can't risk you like possibly injuring yourself walking around on set, and so they'll have an assistant go grab whatever it is that you need, and you feel bad because you're like, that's only like 30 feet away. I could literally go there and get it, but they're like, no, I got you, and they'll get it for you because, again, I understand, because what if you like tripped on the way there and then the whole scene is messed up, money's involved,
and you lost a tooth or something.
So you have like gophers for they're you know PAs, like assistants, and and they follow you like everywhere.
Man, it's like, bro, I'm just trying to go to the bathroom, bro.
And they have to know because what if they call you and you're nowhere to be found, you know? So it's honestly nice getting pampered and feeling like you're the man walking on set, and you know, all the background actors, they know who you are. They see you when you're walking around because you're walking to your trailer, you're walking to set, and they're just like, who is that? Like if they're not familiar with who you are, they think like, oh, you must be doing something. So yeah, just doing all that's cool, man. 2021 was a good year for me because I booked 5 shows, so that was Good Girls, Why Women Kill on CBS. It was General Hospital. It was Puppy Place on Apple TV, which just aired like a month and a half ago, which is nice. And then I was on the Bel Air reboot, the pilot, but my scene was cut, so that kind of sucked. But it was cool, you know, cool being on set. It was a different set. Like they had a lot of music playing in between like shots, and I was like, I've never been on a set like this, and I loved it because it was so chill. You know, they was bumping like
Dope.
Baby Keem, like like good music. You know, and
Yeah.
everybody. It was
Super
good vibes, and I was like, you know what? I kind of dig this. This is very
Super dope.
different than what I'm used to. You know.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Bel Air crew, man. They were really cool. They treated me really well.
Dope. Super
Dope.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apologize for the barking.
Yeah.
We
What
at
barking?
the
I ain't no
crib.
barking.
That's sound effects. We put
That sound effects was like, rah, rah, rah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my phone, man. Like, you know, like people trying to text and call me all the time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that's all it is, bro. Yeah, 100.
All right, so you go through, you know, your young adult life, college and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, getting introduced into performing, and then, you know, starting to start acting more, being a little bit more active on that, and then start booking these shows. So where was that transition where you, you know, music started to become, you know, a little bit more,
Or
Yeah.
more prevalent because you've always been into it. So
Right.
when did that transition happen?
Yeah, so that happened in 2019.
Okay.
The homie Drew, who you know, who you work with, 900, aka 900 Vibes.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That part.
We go way back, man, and he's just been following my hustle, and he hit me up one day, and he knew I could sing like since years ago, and so he's like, hey, Ron, been following you and seeing your grind. You should come through the studio and let's just like make a song just for shits, really, you know? And so I said, okay. And so I rolled up to his studio at the time was in Moreno Valley. And another homie of his was there who eventually became a good friend of mine as well, Stux, who you know,
That part.
right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Stux if you watching this.
Shout out to Stux.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
part.
So I
What's up,
just met
Stux?
Stux, and Drew was there, or 900 Vibes, and Drew starts playing a song on the piano, and it's a song called "Say It" by Voices of Theory. You guys remember that song?
I remember that song.
Yeah, and so he starts playing it, and when I hear that song, I immediately want to start singing. So I start singing it, and when I was done, Stux is just like, "Bruh, your voice is so smooth, like velvet." And I was, and then they started calling me Velvet or Ron Velvet.
Velvet.
Like, Drew was like, "We're gonna call you Ron Velvet."
That's
and
it,
so
yeah.
that's kind of how the Ron Velvet thing started. And at the time, you know, I didn't know what was gonna happen with the music because the plan was just to record a song.
Right,
But
right.
they knew I had something, so they were like, "Let's record again." And so we did another song, and then all of a sudden we had like a buttload of songs, you know.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
thought. And then Drew was like, we should release an EP. And so we, you know, it was nice because music is something I've always loved since I was a kid too. Like I said earlier, we're Filipinos, so we naturally sing. We do karaoke at the crib, you know.
All the time.
Right. And so to do it in a professional like capacity, like in a studio, and listening to myself back and going, wow, that's what it sounds like when you're a recording artist and you,
Yeah.
and you record into like a nice mic with like equipment and stuff and buttons.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty mind blowing for me hearing myself sound like professional, you know,
The
and
new guy experience.
Yeah. and I just loved it, man. And that's and not too long after that's when I met all of you guys. Maybe 2-3 months after recording with Drew. And so crazy how it all went down, you know. Did you want me to go into like that to like Ronnie Boy Kids and all that?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's where we're headed to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because
So-
you started releasing music
Yeah.
as Ron Velvet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was like what? Like
It was in 2019, like late
Yeah.
2019
Yeah,
was when we
yeah.
dropped the EP.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
That's when, at the time, you and I had been working on a lot of music together too. Bangers, y'all. Do you want to
Check
ask
it out.
about it?
Check that part. Yeah.
But yeah, the timing of Ron Velvet kind of sucked because that's when I was starting to put out the music, and then COVID happened in 2020.
The whole world shuts down.
Yes.
Messed up everything.
February,
part.
March-ish, you know, that's when it started happening. And at the
part.
time, that's when I was doing shows. So I had a couple of concerts. I was on a card with some really good people. You know, Saweetie was in the event and everything, like, and that too. I met her and everything. And so it was nice. It was like, oh, shit, I could get used to this, you know, all while acting too. But I was very much in music mode at the time because there's a difference between doing music and acting. Like, even though it's nice to be creative, when you do music, it's your own stuff. It's your own words, you know.
Yeah,
It's a collaborative because we all write together, and
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's like you're not just singing for yourself, but you're singing for the homies, for the whole team. In fact,
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
you know, and so I definitely loved doing music more than acting, because it's like I'm not using, acting, you use someone else's words, some writer, unless it's your own independent project. You're taking some writer's words and you're making something out of it. and that's cool. I enjoyed it. Like I said,
but you have to be good at that though.
Yeah.
Like not discounting somebody writing something for
Not at
someone
all,
else.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
It takes a lot for someone to actually convey the idea of someone else's work. You know what I'm saying? So
and
shout out to actors and actresses, man. Because
that's who books, are the people who can take something and create something out of nothing almost,
Yeah.
So I mean, I like both. I like acting and I like singing. But singing definitely hits different.
Yeah, definitely.
So as I was saying, just releasing music during COVID was extremely difficult because we make club bangers, man. Stuff
and nobody's at the club.
Nobody's at the club. All the clubs are shut down for years, bro. So it's like,
what's going on?
What is Ron Velvet and team? What are we supposed to do? You know?
I haven't stepped foot in a club.
We make living room bangers now.
Living room bangers. We should transition to that. No.
Transition, right?
So it was tough. We were still creating music, and I have this catalog, like stuff I've done with you guys and stuff I've done with Drew. This is like 30, 40 plus like songs that never saw the light of day, and I listened back to them from time to time, and I just think, man, these are bangers. These should have been released, and they still can, which is great. That's why Ron Velvet is back this year.
Hey,
here to
here.
But
he's doing it again.
Ronnie V. I'm gonna rebrand as Ronnie V. Let's go. No, but all the homies, you guys call me Ronnie V, so that works.
I mean, I always forget your actual real name and just go.
And Stux calls me Velvet, when
Velvet.
he sees me, which is hilarious. But whatever, man, whatever y'all want to do. But yeah, I guess. So you want to know when Ronnie Boy Kids started?
I mean, like the inception,
Yeah. What made you think, you know what, I want to switch it up and do something to help shape minds, right?
Yeah. So I auditioned for the host of Blue's Clues like 3 or 4 years ago with Nickelodeon. I sent it a tape. They liked
friends
me.
who did that,
Yeah, so they brought me in, and I did my thing in front of them. I prepared so much. I prepared like a whole week for it because I was like, I'm gonna book this, and no one is gonna book it over me because it just came so naturally to me talking to a camera like this,
Right.
But I didn't book it. Ended up going to Josh De La Cruz, who's also a fellow Filipino. We have a lot of mutual friends.
Win is a win right there.
Yeah. Josh is a great guy. I've seen a few clips of him on the show, and he does a good job with it. He was coming off Broadway. I think he was like on Aladdin or something.
I think so.
Tight, super tight.
So we have a lot of mutual friends. So cool dude. Big ups to him. But even auditioning for Blue's Clues kind of just put something in my brain that like I could actually talk to kids, and I've always been good with children. When I was little, my little cousins loved me, and I was like the cool older cousin. And now that I'm a little bit older, like my nephews, I have 3 nephews and 1 niece. They look at me as like cool Uncle Ron or Uncle Ronnie, and so it kind of was like, what happened? I think someone sent me a link to a kid's entertainer named Blippy. You guys have heard of Blippy?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he runs the game on YouTube. He runs things, and so I looked into him and I thought like I could do this too, but obviously we do a lot of music, so I thought maybe we could just try kids music, and not just any kind of kids music, because I didn't want to do corny like Old MacDonald Had a Farm,
we're not doing
ABC type of stuff. I wanted to do bangers basically, but have them kids focused. And so that's when I reached out to you guys and Nate, my other producer, Nate Evans, and said, you know what, let's do what we've been doing, but let's make it kids focused. And so
what up, Nate?
Yeah, what up, Nate?
What up, Nate? Man.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's how Ronnie Boy Kids was born, man. It was like last January.
Just about.
I was looking at this Excel file that I keep of all the songs that we do and the dates that we do them, and we did the 10 tracks from the Ronnie Boy Kids It's Me Ronnie Boy album that's out everywhere. We did that from like mid-January through mid-February. That's 4 weeks, and we did 10 tracks, and we never really went back to these tracks. We just recorded them like in one day, and that was a wrap. So we were very resourceful and efficient and stuff within those 4 weeks.
That's called studio magic.
Yes, sir.
You make it happen.
Yes, sir. So it's nice to involve like the whole team. Not just you guys, but Nate too, and Jericho and. and just bring the whole team with me because I'm all about the team, man. And because I wouldn't have any music if it wasn't for you guys, obviously. So I don't produce myself, so I can help write with y'all, and I'll be the voice if you guys need me to. Yeah. That's how Ronnie Boy Kids came about. It was nice to be able to make music that my nephews and my niece could listen to, because my Ron Velvet music, for the most part, it's pretty age appropriate, but a couple of songs aren't. And so, unfortunately, I did remove a couple of them prior to launching Ronnie Boy Kids. But in retrospect, now that I think about it, people will listen to what they like. If it sounds good, they will listen to it. Snoop Dogg has a children's album, right? Let's think about some of the content that he has released throughout the years, right? But his kids album, I think, has like 100,000 monthly listeners on it. So I don't think parents are listening to the, showing their kids their music, or when they're thinking about if they want to show their kids it or not, they're not going, oh, he's sung about like weed and drinking and hoes and stuff like that. If it's good kids music, they're gonna listen to it. Period. Right? Exactly. And so that's why I'm gonna bring back some of the songs that I you removed from Ron Velvet.
Well, at the end of the day, there has to be some kind of separation. Like, you are still an adult. You know what I'm saying? And for people, like, that's one of the things that I kind of like thought about, back in the day. It's like you have these people doing these children's shows, but they're still grown people, and it was really easy for them to get canceled. Like, I think it's gotten a lot better. Nowadays, because now people are able to make that distinction between, okay, this person is an adult, but they're still able to, help shape, young minds. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for me, like, I was kind of happy when you said that. I was like, okay, great. You know what I'm saying? Great. Like, now, like now you're not, technically missing a bag. So you could actually be on both sides of the fence, because there is a proper place for everything. Right. And being able to put those things, and compartmentalize. Put those things in their right perspective.
Definitely got to separate it stuff. Like whenever I release any Ronnie Boy Kids music videos, like, I'm not shouting out Ron Velvet, and vice versa. Maybe if I have an interview, I'll mention everything that I do, but I try my best to like separate the two. Doing music with a message. That's one of. Speaking of passion, one of my buddies, Jeremy Passion, huge Filipino singer, been putting in work since like 2004, or maybe even before that.
Shout out to Passion.
Yeah. And I love his whole slogan. Music with a message. That's always like stuck with me throughout the years. I don't want to just make stuff that's like mindless or brainless and stuff. It's like, because there's too much of that stuff out there. So why can't we make stuff that like bumps but actually has a message behind it, so that when they look up the lyrics, they're like, oh, this is actually really cool, good stuff, and it's affecting their lives.
That was my whole point of prducing these songs. And I mean, dirty work as well.
Use my, what I'm saying? Use my government name. Don't ever do that again, brother. I cut you.
We're not saying.
No, we're not. Yeah.
And that's what
we bleeped out.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. Like when I'll cut that.
Yeah. Bring it back.
When we started, producing for these, these children's songs alongside with dirty work.
That part.
That I knew it wasn't gonna be, Coco Melon type, xylophones and sounds like a kid's toy,
which we did experiment with, but
of course. But I wanted it to sound like adults music, but for children.
I think it works for us, because if we think about who's having kids, it's people our age, 20s, 30s, and these are people, a lot of us listen to very similar music, so it makes sense for us to release bangers versus corny kids music,
Exactly.
And
because the parents have to listen to it too.
Exactly.
Right.
And the great thing is when I first started showing friends like our music before we even like dropped any of it, they were like, yo, this is actually dope. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point, is so that they could not just tolerate it, but they could actually like it too, whether they want to admit it or not.
Exactly.
So the kids dig it, the parents dig it, everybody digs it. So
and it seems to be working.
A
lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. On Pandora, we hit 8,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah.
In what span of time?
Within like 2 months, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. Super dope. Yeah.
So we released our song Burger that we did together that started to get, make noise. So at one point we were the face of the fresh like hits playlist on Pandora, which is really nice because it drew a lot of attention to all the other songs that we've been releasing, So the Cleanup song is doing really well. I Like Your Hair is doing really well. Burger, of course. And then all the other songs get views here and there just because of those songs. So shout out to Pandora. They show us a lot of love on our music. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
Man. Thank you, Pandora.
Yeah. It seems to be going really well.
Yeah.
It's getting popular, especially with that Burger song. So I'm glad we released it.
Yeah.
So what's the vision now? What's the future of not only Ronnie Boy Kids, but Ron Velvet, Ron Nery Jr.
Yeah. So now's an interesting time because I took like a couple month break from releasing Ronnie Boy music videos because I was getting burnt out. It's tough doing like all of this yourself, aside from the music, which obviously we do together. But arranging the music videos, editing everything, and coming up with like a marketing plan or like how to push it out it was so much for me to handle by myself. Like a lot of influencers out there have teams that they work with or studios that they work with, and lucky them. But right now it's just grind time as indie artists, and so
exactly.
I had to take a break just to get my sanity back, but I'm definitely ready. We're gonna be working on album number 2 this year. Album number 1 was, for those of you guys who don't know, was on the first round ballot at the Grammys for Best Children's Music Album.
Grammy Considered.
Yeah, it's nice to be considered, man.
Yep,
amongst like thousands of other great, albums out there. But we're gonna go for it again this year, and we're gonna come at it very, very hard. So
we gonna get it this time.
Watch, listen.
We gonna get it this time.
Listen, watch the stuff that we put out this year. It's gonna be different, and so so it's nice, man. I met some people from the Academy. Shout out to Alphabet Rockers who won Best Children's Music Album this year. They had a pre Grammy show party that I attended, and I met a lot of other members, and they're trying to get me into the Academy as a member, which is really nice. Super and dope. Would be an honor if I do actually get in. A lot of eyes on us now this time, so we got to put out some great stuff. We have I think I have 3-4 other tracks so far for album number 2, but we definitely need to get in the lab, do some more, and once we have a solid foundation, I'll start to put out more music videos. I still plan on doing music videos for our last album. There's 2 tracks that we haven't put out, so that's SMILE, otherwise known as Smile, and Believe, which are very big bangers. It's just trying to put it together is the hard part.
Sweet, man.
Yeah, Ron Velvet is back too, by the way. So we're gonna be releasing
Ron
songs.
Velvet also back.
We've done a lot of songs together. 900 Vibes, Nate, aka LA Winner. We've done a lot of tracks together, and we never put those out. So I definitely want to put those out this year. So we got music for everybody. I'm not really separating anything anymore. I'm just gonna put out stuff that I like, and if you like it, listen to it. Cool.
There you go.
That part.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't.
Yeah.
But you'll like it. You'll like
they forget you if you don't like my music, then, man.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna pull up.
Well, shoot, man. Well, thanks for having you. Thanks for
coming in.
Coming in, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is good stuff, man. And
we appreciate having you over here on the podcast, bro.
It's fun, man. It's fun talking about this stuff because I was saying off camera, how interesting is that you guys never really heard my story, and I never really heard your guys' story. So maybe we got to do another episode where I'm talking to you guys, Man,
watch the first episode.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Oh, pretty much,
man.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. But we can do it again. I'm always on do it again.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
Podcasts always have reoccurring guests.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah.
Just
pull up.
That's the whole point. We talking about whatever we want, man.
Right. It's vibing, baby. Vibing.
Whatever we want to do, yo.
Yeah.
No, but this is fun. Thanks for having me, for real.
Absolutely, man. Well, you heard it first. We got Ron Nery Jr. in the building.
AKA Ron Velvet. AKA
Ronnie Boys coming back.
You already know.
We out here.
And we doing big things. All right, y'all. It's good seeing you. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch y'all the next one. Deuces.
Peace.